Good morning, students. So, hopefully, you are practicing for mid semester in well manner. Now, welcome in preparatory class or preparatory lecture for Math F113 Probability and Statistics. Present in present class or lecture, we will solve mid semester examination paper of second semester 2018-19. So, let us start. Uh, if it is useful, please comment in the comment box so that I can prepare for the other semester or session. So let us start with the first question. An electrical system consists of four components A, B, C, D with working probability 0.9, 0.9, 0.8, 0.8 respectively. The system works if the components A and B work and either of the components C or D works. Assume that all the four components work independently. Find the probability that the entire system works. In the second part, the component C does not work given that the entire system work. So here we have, so as I have told you in lecture, that always we have to define events and random variable prior to the solution. So here we define the random event A, B, C, D as component A is working, component B is working, component C is working, component D is working respectively. And following information is given in the question that P of A 0.9, P of B 0.9, P of C 0.8, P of D 0.8. Now this information is given to you that entire system work providing either the C or D or both C and D work along with component A and B. So in this what we have that component component A and B are in series because for the system functioning then they must be in the working nature. And C and D are in parallel. C and D are in parallel means any one of this is working, then we say system is working. Means for the working of the system, either the ABC should work or ABDC should work or AB and both C and D should work. So here when we have to compute system is working, so we have to compute probability of A intersection B intersection C union D. That can also be written as probability of A intersection B intersection C intersection D bar plus probability of A intersection B intersection C bar intersection D plus probability of A intersection B intersection C intersection D. Means either only the C is working, only D is working, or both are working. So since components are given you in the example that they are working independently, so we know that probability of A intersection B is equal to probability of A into probability of B when A and B are independent. So using that approach, it can be written as P of A into P of B into P of C into P of D bar plus P of A P into P of B into P of C bar into P of D plus P of A into P of B into P of C into P of D. And P of D bar and P of C bar can be written in terms of the complementary probability as 1 minus PD, 1 minus PC respectively. Now put the corresponding probability and you will get the 0.776. Now in the second part, it is asked to compute the probability of component C does not work given that system is working. It means you have to determine probability of C complement given system is working. System is working means A intersection B intersection C union D. So we know that from the conditional probability of A given B is equal to what? It is the P of A intersection B divided by the P of B. So using this principle, numerator will become P of A intersection B intersection C union D intersection C bar upon probability of A intersection B intersection C union D. So here it will become probability of A intersection B intersection C bar intersection D, right? So because from here we know that what is the intersection. So right, so it will give you the probability of A intersection B intersection C bar intersection D divided by the probability of A intersection B intersection of C union D. So since A, B, C, D are independent, numerator will become P of A into P of B into P of C bar into P of D divided by system is working. So for the system is working, we have already computed the probability in the part 1. So just you put the value of the PA, PB, PC bar and PD, you will get the required probability as 0.1667. So that is the question number 1A. In the question number 1B, state and prove Bayes theorem. So this is from the means theoretical in a book you can find. So let B1, B2, Bn be mutually exclusive and exhaustive events in the sample space S for any random experiment with probability PB1, P of B2, P of Bn respectively. Let A be any event in S with probability PA, which cannot be 0. Then what is the Bayes theorem? Probability of Bk given A, right? Probability of Bk given A is equal to probability of Bk in probability of Bk into probability of Bk into probability of A given Bk divide by some summation from n is equal to 1 n is equal to, or you can say I is equal to, not n is equal to, I is equal to 1 to n probability of Bi into probability of A given Bi, right? And here Bk can be the any number between 1 to n. So this is the Bayes theorem. Means for the Bayes theorem state the what is the probability of cause? What is the probability of cause if effect is given to you? If effect is given to you in terms of probability of right, probability of causes when effect is given to you, right? Or when probability of causes is given to you, right? Here we have the probability of causes, or you can say you have to compute the posterior probability in terms of the prior probability. So here what is the proof? Given B1, B2, Bk are mutually exclusive and exhaustive event in sample space S. So when we say B1, B2, Bk are mutually exclusive and exhaustive, it implies that S is equal to B1 union B2 union Bn, and the mutually exclusive means pairwise mutually exclusive. So Bi intersection Bj is equal to 5 for all I comma j. So, and from here, if you compute A is equal to, you can write A is equal to A intersection S, because A is also event from the same sample space S. So S can also be written as B1 union B2 union Bn. So using the property of the set theory, it can be written as A intersection B1 union A intersection B2 union A intersection Bn. And it is given to you. It is given to you B1, B2, Bn are mutually exclusive and exhaustive event. Means if it is the here, if it is the sample space, so you can say B1, B2, B3, B3, B4, right? And B5, and let's say BK. It is given to you. So they are the mutually exclusive. In that, you have considered any one event, let's say A. So when you consider the A, so naturally A intersection B1, A intersection B2, A intersection BK are also mutually exclusive. They are also mutually exclusive. And so P of A can also be written using the uh, axiom 3 of the axiomatic definition of probability. P of A is equal to P of A intersection P of A intersection B1, right, plus P of A intersection B2 plus P of A intersection Bn. That can be written as P of a summation from I is equal to 1 to n, P of A intersection Bi, and P of A intersection Bi can be written in terms of the conditional probability as P of Bi, right, P of Bi into probability of A given Bi, because you know what is the probability of A given B. It is the probability of A intersection B upon probability of B. So from here, probability of A intersection B can be written as probability of B into probability of A given B. So using this principle, we can write this. From now, from the conditional probability, if you have to compute probability of Bk given A, so that can be written as probability of A intersection Bk divided by the P of A, divided by P of A. So numerator can be written as probability of Bk into probability of A given Bk using the conditional probability. And denominator we have just derived here, P of A is equal to this. So just you put, you have the proof of the Bayes theorem. So here we have proved, hence proved the Bayes theorem. In the part C, an individual has three email accounts. Most of her messages, in fact 70%, come into account 1, whereas 20% come into account 2, and the remaining 10% into account 3. Of the messages into account 1, only 1% are spam, whereas corresponding percentage for the account 2 and 3 are 2% and 5% respectively. What is the probability that a randomly selected message is a spam? So, as I've told you, always before starting any question in probability, always you have to well define what is the event, what is the random variable. So here we define the event B1, B2, B3. Message come into account 1, account 2, account 3 respectively. Another event we are defining A, message is spam. So according to question, P of B1 is equal to because 70% mail come in the account 1, 20% in account 2, 10% in account 3. So P of B1 will be the 0.7, P of B2 is the 0.2, and P of B3 is 0.1. And it is also given to you for the account 1% is spam mail. So P of A given B1 will be the 0.01, P of A given B2 will be the 0.02, and P of A given B3 is 0.05. So by the total probability means here you can understand. Let this is the mailbox. So 70% mail in the account 1, and 20% in the mail account 2, and 10% in the, let's say it is the 70, it is the 20%, and it is the 10%. Now here we have the spam, right? Here we have the spam. So P of A can be written as P of A can be written as, so it P of A can be written as P of A intersection B1 union A intersection B2 union A intersection B3. Since A intersection B1, A intersection B2, A intersection B3 are mutually exclusive, So this can be written as probability of A intersection B1 plus probability of A intersection B2 plus probability of A intersection B3. And using the conditional probability, we can write it as a P of A given B1 into P of B1, P of A given B2 into B2, P of A given B3 into B3. Now just you put the given values and you will get the required probability as 0.016. So that's all the question number 1, all the three parts. Now let us move to question number 2. A part, let x be binomial random variable with mean 4 and variance 4 by 3. Compute the value of probability x less than 1. So it is given to you x follow the binomial distribution. So for the binomial distribution, you know the parameters are n and p, and it is given to you mean is equal to 4 and variance is equal to 4 by 3. So mean is equal to np and variance is equal to np into 1 minus p for the binomial distribution. So np is equal to 4 and np into 1 minus p is equal to 4 by 3. So if you solve this, so it will give you 4 into 1 minus p is equal to 4 by 3. So this will give you 1 minus p is equal to 1 by 3 or p is equal to 2 by 3. So when we put p is equal to 2 by 3, you will get the n is equal to 6. So now you can say that x follow the binomial distribution with parameter n is equal to 6 and p is equal to 2 by 3. So now in the question they are asked probability of x less than 1. So because less than 1, only one discrete point we have for the binomial distribution, that is the x is equal to 0. So probability of x is equal to 0, and probability mass function for the binomial distribution, you know it is the ncx p to power x 1 minus p to power n minus x. So for the x is equal to 0, it will become 6 choose 0, 2 by 3 to power 0, 1 minus 2 by 3 to power 6 minus 0. So it will become 1 by 3 to power 6, that is the 0.0014. So that is the required probability. Now in question number 2b, we have the following information. According to a University of California Irvine study, business people are interrupted at the rate of approximately 5.5 times per hour. Suppose the number of interruption follows Poisson distribution or Poisson probability distribution. Then in the part A, you have to determine, find the density for the time between interruption and what is the probability that business person will have no interruption during 15-minute period. So here it is given to you that let this is the timeline. So randomly we have the interruption. So you have to determine what is the distribution of inter interruption time, right? What is the distribution of inter interruption time? So it is given to you lambda is equal to 0.5. Means interruptions are discrete. They follow the Poisson distribution, and inter interruption time is the continuous and they follow the exponential distribution. That is the property of Poisson process. So given lambda is equal to 5.5 interruption per hour. So here beta will become 1 upon lambda, that is the 1 upon 5.5. So 1 upon beta will be the 5.5. So here we define, let this x interruption time, this is the x, this is the x, this is the x, this is the x. So here it is the time to first interruption, time to first interruption. So from the Poisson distribution, we know that it follow the exponential distribution or Poisson process. From the Poisson process, we know that this follow the exponential distribution with parameter 1 upon beta is equal to 5.5. So here beta means mean time, lambda means mean rate. Means in a unit time, how many interruptions we have, that is the rate that we denote by the lambda. And what is the time between the interruption, what is the time between the interruption? If you take the mean of that, that is the mean time. For example, in 1 hour, if 20 students are coming in the class one by one, so the mean time between the two consecutive arrivals of the student will be the 3 minutes. So that is the beta is equal to 3 minutes, lambda is equal to 20 per hour. So here we know that CDF or PDF for the exponential distribution is 1 upon beta e to power minus x upon beta x greater than 0 and 0 elsewhere. So 1 upon beta is given to you as a 5.5. So 5.5 e to power minus 5.5 x for the x greater than 0 and 0 elsewhere. So here we have derived the first part 1 means PDF of the time to interruption. Now in the second part, it is asked in this question, what is the probability that a business person will have no interruption during the 15-minute period? So during the 15-minute period, there is no interruption. So in this case, what they are asking? They are asking that if it is the timeline up to the 1/4 hours, there is no interruption. There is the interruption after this, after the 1/4 only. So so it means this time interruption time naturally more than the 1/4. So x must be greater than 1/4. So it can be written as 1 minus probability of x less than equal to 1/4. And for the exponential distribution, we know the value of the CDF is 1 minus e to power minus lambda x. So just you put here 1 minus e to power minus lambda x. So 5.5 minus 1/4. So here 1 and 1 cancel out, right? So required probability you will get e to power minus 5.5 upon 4, that is the 0.2528. Or it can be computed like this, because in the given question we have the information about the Poisson distribution. So we can assume that here till the 1/4 there is no interruption, means we say x is equal to 0. X is equal to 0. Before that we compute the k is equal to lambda into s. Lambda is the rate and s is the duration. So rate for hour and duration is the 1/4, 15 minutes. So 5.5 upon 1/4. So probability for x is equal to 0, it will become e to power minus k to power x upon factorial x. So e to power minus k to power 0 upon factorial 0, and k is given to you as 0.55 upon 4. So it will become again the 0.2528. So by any approach you can solve this question. So that is the second B. In the question number second C, let x be continuous random variable with density fx is equal to k e to power minus mod of x. X vary from minus infinity to infinity. Find the constant k. For if it is the PDF, then you have to determine the value of the k. Hence compute expectation, and if y is equal to x square, find the CDF and density for the y. You have to compute the CDF and PDF for the random variable y. Why is the random variable? Because it is the function of the random variable. So if y is the function of the continuous random variable, then y is also the continuous random variable. So here in the part C, first we have to determine what is the value of the constant k. So for being PDF, we know it must satisfy the two necessary and sufficient condition. Fx must be greater than equal to 0 for all x, and minus infinity to infinity fx dx, right? Integral minus infinity to infinity fx dx should equal to 1. because it is given to you x is the continuous random variable. So since it is the exponential function, so naturally it is always non-negative. Now from the second property, minus infinity to infinity, k e to power minus x, just you put the value of the fx. So k e to power minus mod of x dx is equal to 1. So we know that this fx is nothing, it is the even function. So when it is the even function, because k is constant only, so e to power minus mod of x, so it is the even function. So above integral can be written as 2 into integral from 0 to infinity, 0 to infinity e to power minus x dx, right? And k constant as it is, so it will become 2k integral 0 to infinity e to power minus x dx is equal to 1. So just simple integration. So 2k, you integrate e to power minus x upon minus 1, put the limit 0 to infinity, so you will get the 1. So 2k is equal to 1, so k is equal to half. So when k is equal to half, then the fx will be 1 upon 2 e to power minus mod of x for the x from minus infinity to infinity. So here you have computed the value of the k as a half. In the second part, uh, after computing the value of the k, in the second part, it is asked to determine the value of the ex. So what is the basic formula of ex? It is the integral minus infinity to infinity x into fx into dx. So it will become minus infinity to infinity x into given fx half e to power minus mod of x into dx. So now given function will be the odd function. So for the odd function, directly you can write the integral as a 0. Now in the third part, you have to compute the CDF and PDF for the new random variable y, which is equal to x square, which is the function of the random variable x. So here it given to you y is equal to x square. So first we compute the CDF. So CDF is what? F of y means probability y less than equal to small y. Capital Y is given to you as a x square, so x square less than equal to y, or it can be written as x lie between minus of root y, in the interval of minus of root y to root y. So because the PDF for the x is given in the question, right? So just you integrate from minus root y to y root y of fx dx. So fx is given to you as a 1 by 2 e to power minus mod of x into dx. So it is again the even function that can be written as 2 into 0 to root y e to power minus x into dx. So here 2 and 2 cancel out. Here the 2 and 2 cancel out. So integral will be the e to power minus x upon minus 1 limit 0 to root y. So that can be written as 1 minus e to power minus root of y for the y greater than 0. So this is the f of y. So here you can say 0 for the elsewhere. So now you know that CDF is the integral of the PDF. So PDF will be the derivative of the CDF. So a small fy, that is the PDF, will be the derivative of the CDF capital Fy. So d of dy of the CDF 1 minus e to power minus root y. So Fy will become 1 by 2 e to power minus root y upon root y for the y greater than 0. So you can write, so always it is the good practice to write the 0 for the elsewhere, right? Wherever it is not defined, there you write the 0 elsewhere. So in this way, we have completed the question number 2. Now let us move to question number 3. So question number 3, part A, is given to you. A company pays its employee an average wages of rupees 15.90 an hour and the standard deviation of rupees 1.50 if the wages per hour are approximately normally distributed. What percentage of the worker receive the wages between 12.9 and rupees 18.9 per hour? In the second part, it is asked the highest 5% of the employees hourly wages is greater than what amount? So it is given to you x follow the means first we have to define the random variable. So here we define the random variable x, the wages per hour, and according to question it is given to you the wages per hour follow the normal distribution with parameter mu is equal to 15.9 and standard deviation 1.5. So now the desired probability is x lie between the 12.9 to 18.9. So probability for x between 12.9 to 18.9 can also be written if you know how to convert the normal distribution into the standard normal distribution by subtracting the mean and divide by the standard deviation. So it can be written as probability of 12.9 minus 15.9 upon 1.5 less than equal to x minus mu upon sigma less than equal to 18.9 minus 15.9 upon 1.5. So this will become probability z lie between 2 minus 2 to 2. It, right, it lie between minus 2 to 2. So and we know that by the normal probability rule that z between 1 sigma or 1 standard deviation value is the 0.68. Between the 2 sigma it is the 0.95, and between the 3 sigma it is the 0.997. So by the normal probability rule it is the 0.95. So here you can conclude that 95% workers receive the wages between 12.9 to 18.9 per hour. Now in the in the second part, the highest 5% of the employees hourly wages is greater than what the amount. So here probability x greater than equal to x naught is given to you as a 0.05, means wages follow the normal distribution. Wages follow the normal distribution. So this side is given to you as a 0.05. So x greater than x naught. So here we have to compute the value of the x naught. So x greater than x naught is equal to 0.05. So x minus mu upon sigma greater than x naught minus 15.9 upon 1.5 is equal to 0.05. So this will give you x naught minus 15.9 upon 1.5 is equal to z of 0.05. And from the table we know the z of 0.05 is nothing, it is the 1.645. It is very standard value. So here the x naught will come 1.645 into 1.5 plus 15.9. So it will give the 18.367. So that is the salary of the top 5% person. Now in the last part, question number 3b, in 1 out of 6 cases, material for bulletproof vest fail to meet puncture standard. If 405 specimens are tested, what does Chebyshev inequality tell us about the probability of getting at most 30 or at least 105 cases that do not meet puncture standard? Evaluate using normal approximation the probability of getting more than 60 cases and less than 75 cases that do not meet puncture standard. So in this question, first we define the random variable x, the number of the cases which do not meet puncture standard. So it is given to you in question that out of the 405, means n is equal to 405, and probability is 1 by 6. So it turns here we have the success and failure. So x follow the binomial distribution. X follow the binomial distribution with parameter n is equal to 405 and p is equal to 1 by 6. So for the Bernoulli distribution, we know for the binomial distribution we know mean is np and variance is the npq. So np is equal to 405 into 1 by 6, that is the 67.5, and variance is equal to npq 405 into 1 by 6 into 5 by 6. So that will become the 225 upon 4, or positive square root of the 225 upon 4 will be the 7.5. Will be the 7.5. So now we have to determine in the part A. In the part A, you have to determine what does Chebyshev inequality tell us about the probability of getting at most 30 and at least 105 cases that do not meet puncture standard. So here we have to compute the probability x less than equal to 30 or x greater than equal to 105. So why Chebyshev inequality? Why Chebyshev inequality? We know the Chebyshev inequality is what? Mod of x minus mu greater than equal to k sigma less than equal to 1 upon k square. So here when we put k is equal to 5, k is equal to 5, so this will become probability of x minus 67.5 greater than equal to k is equal to 5 into sigma 1.7.5, right? So it is equal to probability x less than equal to 30 and x greater than 105. So this will become less than equal to 1 upon 5 square, that is the 0.04. So approximately our required probability is less than 0.04. Then in the second part, evaluate using normal approximation the probability of getting more than 60 cases and less than 75 cases that do not meet the puncture standard. So in this case, it is a question of the binomial distribution, but you have to use the normal approximation. So what you have to compute probability that x lie between. What you need probability x lie between 60 and 75 because x is a discrete. So specifically we have to write its bound. So x lie between 61 to 74 inclusive bounds inclusive. So it can be approximated by the normal variate. X can be approximated by the normal variate which follow the normal distribution with parameter mu and sigma square. So here approximated by the normal variate y which follow the normal distribution with mu is equal to 67.5 and sigma is equal to 7.5. So but before applying the normal approximation, always it is necessary to include the half unit correction. Half unit correction means from here we have to subtract the 0.5 and here we have to add the 0.5. So it will become 60.5, 61 minus 0.5 and 74 plus 0.5. So 60.5 y lie between 60.5 to 74.5. So when we subtract the mean and divide by the standard deviation, so it will become the standard normal distribution. So 60.5 minus 67.5 upon 1.5 less than equal to z less than equal to 74.5 minus 67.5 upon 1.5. So this will become phi of 0.993 minus phi of minus 0.993. So this and you know that phi of uh, here you know that phi of minus z is equal to 1 minus phi z, 1 minus phi z, because normal curve is symmetric about the mean. So it will become 2 into phi of 0.993 minus 1. That will if you see the tabular value you will get the 0.65. So from here you can say approximately 65% meet the standard of the puncture. So here we have the solution for the second semester 2018-19 mid semester examination. So hopefully it will be useful for your practice for the mid semester examination. So best of luck to all of you. If you want more, then please write in the comment so that I can increase for the more previous years. Thank you.